Hey guys, what's up? It's Johnny here. I nearly forgot my name, and welcome to another SIC show. And as always, I'm super pumped to be here, and I'm here with my main man B. How are you, my
awesome,
brother?
Man. I love speaking to photographers who photograph dancers.
Cool. This week on the show, we're interviewing Stephan Bollinger and find out how he became the fastest female 400-meter Swiss runner.
Female?
Female.
Okay. Yeah.
Crazy.
Oh, yeah. You've got to hear the story to that one. And he's going to inspire us with some amazing dance and model images. He's the master at photographing dancers.
Yep.
And he's in the create section, he's going to teach us how he creates the model negative black and white symmetry image.
Yeah, awesome, man.
Awesome.
And guys, don't forget to check out our free courses. Click the link below and jump in and get started. Let's do it, man.
Awesome. Enjoy.
The SIC Show. Share, inspire, create.com. Share.
All right, Stephan. So share something with us that not many people know about you.
Well, how about I turn this around and ask you three questions and you pick one?
Okay.
Number one, because two are a lie and one is true. Well, no, actually two are true. But anyway, so number one, I played tennis with Roger Federer. Number two, I was singing in front of 12.4 million people live. And three, I was the fastest female 400-meter runner in Swiss history. Which one is the lie?
The female runner. It's a lie.
You think the female runner is wrong?
Yes.
No, unfortunately, I never had the pleasure to play with Roger Federer. So, big question.
Yeah.
How did something happen? Did I go, no operation required? Funny story. There was a Guinness Book of Records attempt in Switzerland many years ago. I was about 20 or 18, 20. And my mom signed up with the athletic club to be part of the 1,000 times 400-meter run.
Okay.
And during the day, all the different runners were running and it got into the night. And at some point, she knew, okay, it was her turn to run. And she started to freak out. She was really nervous. I was like, oh shit, what if I miss this up? There's like 700 runners already gone. We're nearly there. And what if So she talked me into running. So we went to the officials and said, okay, well, can Stephan run instead of the yeah, no worries, And it was time for me to run. And I ran the 400 meters. And as I go through the finishing line on the big boards, they forgot to change her name to my name. So there was on the boards was this like new Swiss record, new female Swiss record, right? Like, and she was trying to hide in a hole somewhere, and everybody came over to her and congratulated her and like, oh my God, we had no idea. Where do you train? This is amazing. This and this. Yeah. So for a short while, I've been the fastest female runner in Switzerland. There you go.
That is so funny. Oh, wow. Oh, that's awesome, Stephan. I love that.
And I still got the T-shirt to prove that we actually did get that world record. So there you go.
Well done. Well done. You must be a fast runner anyway.
Not anymore. That's like many moons ago when the Earth was cooling down,
I was it. Okay. Yeah. Before global warming. All right.
Yes.
Good stuff.
Inspire.
All right, Stephan, let's jump into your images that you've got today. So inspire us with some of these amazing portraits of yours. So which one did we jump into first? Did we do the dance images first?
As you like.
Yeah, let's do the dance ones first. So we'll go to the one with the black background and the red material.
The flame, yes. I love this image. I love this image for many reasons, because for so many years I've been taking pictures of dancers, but at some point you try to create something new. And I'm fascinated when you can create something in camera without going too crazy into Photoshop. Now, there's absolutely nothing wrong with Photoshop, and of course, every professional photographer uses it. But if I can create something in camera, then I feel extra proud. There's sort of a like self hug, high five moment when you think, okay, like we got it. There's not much needed after the fact. And I wanted to create something that creates kind of this candle feel, this flame with a dancer. And it's difficult to find amazing dancers here in Australia that are mature enough to understand the concept. I mean, there's many, many ballet schools and dance schools and so, but you would never take a kid and tell them to pose nude or anything like that. So you need professional dancers that understand the concept. And I'm just lucky enough to be married to, an owner of a ballet academy. And this woman in this shot, she has been a professional dancer before and has just started teaching for my wife. And she walked into the studio and I looked at her and go like, oh my God, I so gonna ask you to take some pictures. And that, because she just stopped dancing as a professional classical ballet dancer. So she is incredibly good, but she's also now at the point where she teaches, still very, very young, but understands concepts. So I explained to her what we want to do, and we spend, 6 hours, not on this shot alone, but on many, many other photos as well. But on this shot, I don't know how many times she had to throw that fabric until it actually created the flame. Mm-hmm. We have tons and tons and tons of photos which the public will never see. It will never appear anywhere. And that way, the typical pretend we're awesome, but it's trial and error. And so there was a lot of trial and error involved, but that's the final shot. And I just love it because it gives that hint of nudity without being vulgar or showing anything. Yeah. So you just see that little bit of awesome curve there, and the rest is up to the imagination and having that fabric, creating that flame. So yeah, love that shot.
That's amazing. And looks like you're using rim lighting there. Have you got two lights on behind her on either side of her body?
Yes. There's two strip boxes on left and right, and they're slightly on different settings just to make sure that we don't lose dimension, because I don't want it to become flat. But at the same time, of course, if you want to have that kind of flamish feel, the light has to flicker a little bit in that fabric. Yep. And there were questions online afterwards, why didn't you, if you have that base, why didn't you push it more through Photoshop and create more kind of flamey? But I thought, look, that's the art of photography. That's my taste. I like it polished, but I like it real. So to feel still like a photographer and not just like a retoucher. If that makes sense. Totally.
Yeah, no, definitely. Love that image, Stephan. That's amazing. All right, let's jump to the next one that you had there. That's is this the same model in the fabric again? Okay.
No, that's a different model or dancer. This is Megan. She has been a professional dancer. She worked at the Moulin Rouge in Paris for a while. And I met her through my wife as well. So, which is kind of a safe bet if you want to do any nude photography. Make sure that your wife is somewhat involved, because it's a good plan to stay married in the long run.
Totally.
People have sometimes the wrong ideas. Now, the interesting, first of all, because her working in Moulin Rouge, she doesn't care to take her clothes off. But of course, she still wants it classy and stylish. So the trick here was to find the perfect angle where it gives that appearance that she's nude, but you don't see anything.
Yes.
Again, to have that subtle, and sometimes it's just a centimeter of the upper body turning more or less, and you see too much or not. So so that was the gentle, finding that perfect angle where you nearly, but not really. When the ordinary bloke from the street goes like, why didn't you turn the camera a little bit? Like, well, honey, that's where it's meant to be. Yeah. But the interesting thing about this shot is, and I'm really sorry to kill any illusions here, is I have this as a big canvas hanging in the studio, and people see where the canvas or where the frame stops. What I see in my head is about 1.5 meters further towards the left. That's where my frame in my head ends, because reality is there was a big Bunnings leather standing there, and on top was my wife, trying not to fall down. She was standing up there just outside of the frame, up there holding the fabric. And then Megan and her, they were counting. So they started to create the wave, and they were counting 1, 2, 3, and then Amanda, my wife, quickly takes her hands out of the frame, and Megan steps into it when they think they have the right wave, and that's the frame.
Oh, wow.
We've done that so many times, and I was so much more worried that my wife would fall down because she was tippy-toeing up there,
really?
right? Because otherwise, the only other way to get that wave is somehow be extremely lucky, use some crazy wind machines, or fake it in Photoshop. But in this case, that's what, in my head, what the frame looks like. I was more worried about my wife not falling down than the photo of this nude, beautiful dancer.
Yeah.
So
totally.
that's how it's why this photo is kind of interesting for me, because all people see is the final product. Of course, being in the production on the set, what I see is my worry of, and it was 2 or 3 times. It was close. She was like balancing up there, and and the other little detail which people don't see, of course, is that Megan actually has the toe on the fabric, because we tried it several times, and every single time that fabric slipped, and then we didn't get that. So at the end we said, oh, you know what, bugger it, just put your toe on it. I know it's not perfect, but I think that's that little detail that if I could do it again, I'd probably still try to not hair stand on it. But it was kind of the last minute after trying for an hour, and it just didn't fall right. I said, you know what, bugger it, just put your toe on it.
Yeah. Well, that's an amazing image, Stephan. I love it. I've seen it before. You've posted it online before, and that's, I think maybe this is the image that actually got me following you, because it's just so amazing. I love it because I know how difficult it is to create. I've tried to create this with dancers in my studio too, and that fabric and a dancer and the lighting and having them at the peak of their pose, like with the head back like that, her fingers right, her toes pointed. I mean, everything has to be perfect in that one split second to capture that all in one frame. It's so difficult. So, I mean, you're a master when it comes to these kind of images, and definitely.
I've had a lot of trial and error. Let's be honest here. I am in a very lucky position, though. Being married to a former professional classical dancer. When I started taking pictures of dancers, I had very little idea what I was doing. I was more fascinated by the beauty of it, but I didn't know anything technically, and then for a very long time, I had her on my side to tell me what technically is incorrect. Because, especially with ballet, if you've never done it yourself, and as you can tell, I'm not quite the ballerina, you don't know what they're looking for. Because I look aesthetically, visually, but they, of course, look in other terms. They look in terms of turnout and position and line and all of these things. And they train day in, day out, to make it perfect. Things that I don't see. Or by now, after 20 years, I do see them. I do understand. I know what all those French words actually mean. But when you start, I had no idea. So I think this is a very important point for all those who like to go into any kind of specialized photography, be it dance or be it a certain sport or whatever. Learn as much about what you're going to do as you can, because the more you understand it, the more likely you will produce the end result that not just makes you happy as a photographer, but them who look at it from a technical point of view,
Definitely, that's a great tip. Yeah, for sure. Awesome, Stephan. So you got a couple more here. Let's run through them, and they are amazing. Let's go to the girl with the shawl over her head, the dark girl with the red shawl.
The most beautiful vet in the world. Yes.
Oh, yes. So tell me about this image. Why did you choose this one, Stephan, as one of your inspirational images?
I wouldn't call my photography inspirational. I just do what I love. And if that inspires other people, woo, yay.
It inspires me.
Well, that's why you're wearing red today, or orange, or whatever.
Yeah.
So this shot is special to me because it shows that not only top models can look like $1 million. You know, people always have that weird idea that to create those amazing images, you have to work with top models. You have to be in amazing locations and this and that and the other. This girl is a very, very smart woman that is not a model. She's a vet, a professional vet. So she has this amazing skin tone, and we try to match it with the color that makes it even more fiery and even makes her complexion look even more vibrant. And it's tricky to photograph a dark-skinned girl on a black background. So using that color, of course, helped me get her off the background a little bit, rather than having the black hair sort of disappear on the black background. So in terms of picking the color, when you think about it, I was cheating a little bit to get her a little bit off the black. But maybe it's also a good little hint that, you know, the white eagle in the white sky is very hard to photograph. So maybe you have to wrap it somehow or frame it somehow to get that separation. But that's purely technical. I think what makes that photo for me is that she looks straight through you. She looks straight into you. And I guess that's what I try to achieve with all my photos, not the dance photos, of course, but all my portraits. I want either the model to look into the distance, into her future, into thinking about the awesome afternoon that she's going to spend with her boyfriend, or whatever positive, beautiful it is. But if they look at me, I want them to look straight through me. I want them to not contact me on my eyes, but on my soul. They have to look at me and know me. And at the same time, of course, I'll drop my guard and I go like, okay, honey, I'm here. What do you want? everything but the credit card. Yeah, I'm fine. Right? So getting this from a trained model is not that difficult, because they know the gaze, they know the angles and everything. But doing so with people who are not trained can sometimes be a little bit more tricky. And I believe that's one of my strong points, if I may say so, is I believe I can make pretty much everybody look extraordinary. And I guess it comes with the fact that we don't take ourselves very seriously. I mean, we shot maybe for 2 hours. The amount of jokes and bad jokes and really bad jokes and extremely bad jokes and cracking up and laughing. We had so many frames that were shaky, were blurry, because I was cracking up and I couldn't hold my camera still. And then she was laughing. And then having that one shot where just everything comes together. And she is just, she looks like a multi-million-dollar superstar.
She does. Yeah.
A second before, she had little, whatever you have, those little lines, because she was laughing so hard. We created, in those 2 hours, we created a really great connection that, we still keep in contact. And hey, how are you going? And how are your job? Did you just save a kangaroo today? Yeah. And, like normal life. And she came back like, oh my God, is this me? Yeah. What is that me? I want it like this big. So
awesome.
And that's for me the biggest compliment I can get, because these days we throw our pictures out on Facebook and Google and everywhere, and there's people liking them and everything. but it means very little. But if someone who doesn't usually see themselves like that, or someone with maybe not the strongest self-esteem, then comes back and said, oh my God, I love it. Is that me? That is so powerful and so beautiful that I don't think you can put a value to it. And in comparison, those likes mean absolutely nothing.
For sure. And I totally agree with you there, Stephan. I think us photographers, maybe we undervalue what we're actually doing, the service we're providing. It's not so much creating images, it's the emotional response we give these people, especially when you're photographing women and models. What are we doing? For women or models that are under 18, basically we're giving them confidence to look at themselves and say, hey, you know what? I don't look so bad once I got hair and makeup and the right lighting and the right pose and the right photographer directing me. It's I'm as good looking as any magazine cover model out there. So I think that's what us photographers do, and I'm sure a lot of us undervalue that.
Yeah, I'm careful with the under 18 comment though, because a lot of my images have a little bit of a I don't want to say sexual, but a sensual undertone.
Yep.
When a young woman, for me, a young woman has to be 18 plus. I am very, very careful with underage photography. For me, everything that is under 18, that's just my personal choice. Everybody has to do whatever they want. But whenever someone is minor, they go into two categories for me. Either it's a fashion catalog for kids' fashion, and then it's fun, bubbly, running around with colored lollipops and jumping around. Yeah. Or it is in the category of where the parents would love a gorgeous portrait of their children, something that they usually cannot do themselves. Even though nowadays everybody runs around with a camera, it's still different because I'm the biggest child in the world. I'm sitting down with those kids and play Lego until they forget that there's a camera involved. Yeah. Mainly selfish because I just like to play Lego with them, really. But anyway,
sure.
So that's where I'm comfortable with. Anything else, I have very often like 16, 17-year-old models who contact me and say, can we do a portfolio shoot? I want to do this and that and the other. And they sent me bikini shots. And I understand with 17, you're fine with that. Me, I'm an overprotective dad, okay? I have difficulties with that. So I usually reject those and say, you know what, call me when you're of legal age, because I don't know, maybe it's just me, but that's where I draw the line for myself. And I hope when my daughter is that age, that I'm allowed to draw that line for her as well.
No, for sure. Definitely. No, I agree with you. I've photographed many girls from 13 to 17 because we had this model search, the company that I've just sold my studio, I've just sold my business. And we do a model search for underage girls. And I always have someone on the set with me, a stylist or the mother or the brother or someone, and just to give them the confidence. But it definitely does give the I suppose they're still girls at that age confidence when they learn how to pose and they got the right hair and makeup. But I hear you about not photographing girls and just women, which is your choice, and that's great. Awesome, Stephan. Let's jump to the last one there. I know you got so many great images. We only had to choose a few here. The one with the eyes and the mouth, and it's a black and white. It's a high key image. You can't actually see where the face ends and the white background begins. Tell me a little bit about this image.
Yeah, I guess this image represents pretty much what goes through most of my images, is that you feel like photography is quite an individual sport, but really it's a team sport. And be it with the dancer shot of Megan, where we said, well, that my wife was, on outside of the frame throwing the fabric. In in most of my photos, it is always a team effort. And this photo here shows that, the makeup, the hair, the lighting, it's such a huge part of photography. I guess it's different if you're out in the streets and you just snap away. But as soon as you work on slightly more polished productions, it's always a huge team effort. And this photo for me represents exactly that. There was amazing makeup. I knew exactly what I wanted before, and I discussed this. And it was actually the mother of the model who did the makeup. Wow. Because I was about to get my makeup artist in, and she said, well, my mom is a makeup artist. And I'm like, oh, crap. Because generally, when people say, I'm a makeup artist, you have no idea what walks through your studio. I much rather work with the trusted people that I know that can pull it off. But I thought, you know what, it's okay, let's give in. So she walked in, absolutely gorgeous young woman and super funny mom. And I didn't know what to expect. So I explained what I wanted. I said, look, I want that feeling of a photo turned into a negative, but still with the eyes and the mouth and the shadows correct. So she just looked at me a little bit bedazzled.
Yeah.
Like, what? I said, well, if you take a photo shot on black and you invert it, then, of course, it becomes all white. However, of course, then the eyeliners, the eyelashes, the lips and everything would become white as well. Mm-hmm. But that's not what I want. I want all the features to be correct, but everything else reversed. And she's like, okay, got it. 2 hours later, she walks up to me and I'm like, wow, that mother has lined up every single eyelash to be perfect. And I said, and the other thing is I want it symmetrical, except for the shadows that fall towards the left of the frame. Everything else, make sure that the eyelashes, the lips and everything is like a mirror. She spent so much time in getting this makeup right. When she stepped in front of the camera, I said, okay, the only thing I need to do now is turn it into black and white. She was very pale makeup, very, very pale makeup to create this effect, right? Very, very, like perfect makeup. And a gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous woman. Then a little bit I had to do in Photoshop, but it was actually surprisingly little. And that, I think, surprises a lot of people. But for me, it underlines that once in a while, you just have to trust your instinct and say, okay, bring your mom in, give her a go, instead of just saying, no, because we professionals sometimes have this stupid idea of our way or the highway. And I think sometimes you have to take chances. So look, give people a go. And so I'm so happy I did, instead of insisting on my own makeup artist. She did a brilliant job. They had fun. They connected, like only mother and daughter can. And I guess the model was also happy to sit there for 2 hours to get it perfect. I think with a makeup artist, she would have gotten itchy at some point. But the mother is allowed to tell her off and say, come on, hold still. It's not perfect yet. So it was amazing dynamics. And the final result is just so alien, but so perfect.
I love it.
Yeah, for me, it's the team spirit here that makes that photo. And maybe, I guess, being able to visualize before you shoot what you actually want, so you can communicate with people and say, look, I want to create this alien negative symmetry portrait. And if you know that beforehand, you also know what you're working towards it. So it's not, I don't know how you call it. It shouldn't be a surprise at the end that, whoa,
yes,
you're
taking your vision and you're communicating it with the people involved. And if you communicate it right, they buying into your vision, and then you get this final result. It's just incredible. I love it, Stephan. So a question for you is, what color were her lips then and the rest of the makeup?
Nearly black. They were dark purple. Okay. And eyeliner, eyeshadow and everything was very, very dark gray and purple. So it was nearly black. Okay. So it was very little to actually change.
Okay, and it looks like she's got obviously false eyelashes on the top.
Yes.
Just incredible. I see you using one, looks like a beauty dish, the reflection in her eyes, or maybe a round.
It's an Octa bank that
okay.
I pushed relatively close. I have different sizes of modifiers, but what I've done is for all of my modifiers, be it normal, square, soft boxes, or be it Octa, whatever, I had someone sew round diffusers.
Yeah.
So that even if I use a 1x1 softbox, I still get a perfectly round catch light in the eyes.
Oh,
because
wow.
that's one of the problems I have personally is when you look at the female form, everything is rounded and it's balanced and it's beautiful. There's nothing square unless you put glasses onto them. So why would we then produce a square box in the eyes because of a soft box? Keep it round. We look for the shapes. We look for the poses. We tell models to, drop one shoulder, create the S curve, create curves and lines, and everything with the female has to be smooth. And then we put that square box in the eyes. That makes no sense.
Yeah. Well, that's a good tip there, really. I think the reason it's there is probably because of the windows, like seeing someone with a window catch light in there, a square catch light in the eyes. But I agree, now that you've actually brought it up, I've never even thought about that before, Stephan. That's amazing. Yeah, round catch lights. I like it. Awesome, Stephan.
Create.
Is there something else you can teach us in the create section of this, or have we already done that?
I don't know. When I teach workshops, I always get the photographers in front of the camera, and they feel really, really, really annoyed. And I always say, okay, I need some volunteers, you and you. So they don't really have much choice, but I want to give them the feeling of being vulnerable and being in front of his camera and how weird it feels to produce. And I think this is something that we photographers should do on a regular basis. And I'm not talking about selfies. I'm talking about in front of the mirror or in front of other photographers. Because if you cannot understand how someone feels in front of you, how can you be in a team? Because I always tell everybody that I photograph, professional or not, I said, look, we're here to produce something awesome for you. You are here for a reason. You're here mainly because you look far better than me. That's why you're in front of the camera and I'm behind.
Yeah.
So you do what you do and I help you as much as I can. But at the end of the day, if the photo doesn't turn out, I'm the one to blame because you're already beautiful as you are. If I don't capture it, what's my mistake? But I need now to help them. So I need to give them that confidence that we do this together. We're in it together. But now I also have to be able to help them. So if I see that they're stuck or they don't know what to do or how to stand, how can I be helpful if I can't do it myself? So I have absolutely no problem in a shoot to look like the stupidest clown on the planet and say to the subject that, you know what, stand behind the camera and pretend to be a photographer for a second. I'll show you. And then I stand there and I rip poses and play with my non-existing hair and look like an absolute dork. But not only does everybody on set have a good laugh, and then I forbid them to use any behind the scenes footage and say, no. But, then the model says, okay, well, if Stephan can look like a dork, I can look like a dork. And then I'll go beyond, and the ice is broken. So this is something I think is so important. Put yourself into those shoes. Same with ballet. Talk to people who know about ballet. If you want to go and photograph tennis, pick an amateur tournament before you go to the Grand Slam. Learn about it, what you do. Make sure that if you can hold a racket and if you can play a few balls and you can anticipate where the next ball goes, or you can show a model what the next pose is, or show a model how to be more flattering, or if she wears a wedding dress and she is already a little bit oversized and the wedding dress is white and is sunlight, and that bum becomes bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger just by light reflecting and eyes guided to the whitest spot. And the more we do all of these things, we start to realize how much we can slim down somebody, or bulk up a boxer, or soften a long nose, or heighten eye lines, or all of those things by posing, by lighting, by understanding highlights next to shadows, and all these little technical things, and then put them all into a verbal conversation with a model, so it never feels like teaching. It always feels like fun and awesome. But at the end of the day, they look at it and go like, oh, look at me. But they had the big white dress, and it was really, really bright. And then you shoot from low because they're a little bit short. They want to be taller. Yeah. But now, of course, the bum is even closer to the camera, becomes even bigger. So you stand there and show them the S-curve and the bum away and everything. At the end of the day, you make them happy. And they'll look at it and go like, oh, I love it. And they don't understand all those little technical things.
Yeah. But they're
works. All there.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you, Stephan. That's some great tips over there. I think you put in about a dozen really good things.
I'm sorry about that.
No, that's great. I love it. You're just full of info, just giving us all the stuff. So thank you so much for being on this the Share, Inspire, Create show. We'll have all the links to your website and everything, your workshops in the show notes, and I'll catch you next time I'm up in the Gold Coast.
Absolutely. We have to catch up on that beer. It's long overdue. Definitely. Overdue.
And when you're down here, do the same thing. Awesome.
Absolutely.
Man, Stephan, he's the absolute master at photographing those models, those dancers. I love his work.
Yeah, it's just beautiful, man. You know what I love? It just gets so much right in camera. And I mean, look, guys, there's nothing wrong with Photoshop. You know, I use it in Lightroom, Photoshop every other day. But man, just getting so much perfection done in camera, it's just, man, that
and all the time that actually goes into creating those images that you actually don't realize. It's wow. And it's like incredible. His wife holding that fabric and just crazy.
Yeah. He's got some great stuff.
And I love the way he's taken that image, that face, and done the negative, positive symmetry thing with the makeup, and like, wow, just for one image, all that work.
Tips. Yeah,
crazy.
It's crazy, man.
Yeah,
awesome, epic show.
And what about the fastest female 400-meter race?
That's a classic, man. He's hilarious.
I like him.
Yeah, I like him too, man.
Hey, Stephan, next time I'm at the Gold Coast, we're going to go out for a beer.
Yeah, man. Go visit. Awesome, bro. Cool, man. Been another epic show. And guys, as always, don't forget to check out our free courses, because get them while they're hot, man. People are loving them. And man, I'm so passionate about it. It's great, man.
Awesome. And just so you guys know, Stephan is part of the Arcanum. So if you want him to be your master, so click the link above or below or wherever it is.
Yeah, check it out.
Awesome, guys.
Awesome.
We'll catch you next week.
Yeah, take it easy.
Bye.
To find out more, go to shareinspirecreate.com.